Alright, hello everyone, what is up? My name is Marshall, and today we are going to be doing my La Liga predictions. Now, I know a lot of people only do Premier League and Championship predictions, or really only just Premier League predictions, but I'm going to do La Liga, Bundesliga, and Serie A if I have time after this, because the seasons start 1 week after the Premier League season. And let's jump straight into it. So, bottom of the table for the 2017-18 La Liga Santander season, I have Girona. Now, they've just come up. They finished second in an automatic promotion spot, and it was a very good achievement, but I feel that their team that they have together now is somewhat disjointed. It's like Manchester City loanies plus like some Spanish like okay players. I don't think they're gonna gel well enough. I just don't really think they have the quality to stay in the league. But you never know. That's what we said about Leganés, and they managed to stay up last season. So anything could happen with Girona. But I'm gonna go for last place for them. 19th, I've got Las Palmas, the team from the Canary Islands. Now, they have had a very impressive time since they've gotten promoted a few years ago, but they had an abysmal last half of last season. They fired their manager for a disagreement with the board, and they haven't been able to find that stability ever since he was fired. And so I think Las Palmas will actually go down this year. Plus, they don't even have that good a team. Kevin Prince Boateng, not that good. They're going to have Vitolo for the first half of next year, but I just don't think that's going to help enough. And I do think Las Palmas will be getting relegated, along with the 18th place team, Deportivo La Coruña. Now, they've been bouncing around the divisions for a few years now, but I think their time will be at an end in La Liga this year. They just don't really have a good team. You know what I'm saying? They're always down there. They never seem to get any good players, and for a team that used to be at the top in the 70s and 80s, they've really fallen from grace quite significantly, and now they're bouncing between La Liga 1 and La Liga 1, 2, 3, or I guess La Liga 1, 2, 3 and La Liga. And so I think that Deportivo, Las Palmas, and Girona will get relegated. Now 17th, just escaping relegation, newly promoted Getafe versus the playoffs. They've been in La Liga a long time before last season, or the last season that they were in it, and then they got relegated. And I think that the club kind of belongs in La Liga. They're a decent side. I think they'll barely stay in the league next year, but I do think they'll do it. 16th, a bit of a surprising one here. I think I've got Malaga. Now, they've had a very awful transfer window. They've had almost all of their team leave, like Carlos Kameni, Guillermo Ochoa, Ignacio Camacho, their captain, Sandro, Pablo Fornals, almost all this young talent they've had, and they just haven't really brought anyone in. And I really think they're going to struggle next year. They do have a good manager, and when they've had funding, they've been good in the Champions League, but for all I know, Malaga could get relegated this year. They don't really have the players anymore. So I've got Malaga in 16th. 15th, I've got Leganés. Very wonderful story for them to be able to stay up last year. But I just think that they don't really have enough players yet to be able to, compete for an actual top half spot, but I do think they'll comfortably survive relegation again this year. They could become a La Liga stalwart. I don't really know. But they could go down too. You just never really know with teams like Leganés. They could have been a one-season wonder, or they could just be stabilizing themselves in the Liga. Who knows? But I've gone with 15th. Pretty conservative prediction there, I think. 14th, I've gone with Levante. Real poor season getting relegated for them, but then they came straight back up. Good for them to bounce right back. I think they'll have a successful season in La Liga. Surviving pretty comfortably. 13th, I've gone with Eibar. They're a very nice team, nice story. I think they're the only team in all of Europe's top leagues that have no debt, which is really cool. And just a very small community club, and nothing too special in their players. They kind of lose them every summer to various different managers and other teams. Florian Lejeune, or I don't know how you pronounce it, but he goes to Newcastle this summer, and they lose their good players seemingly almost every single summer. So not sure how they'll fare this year. They have pretty much the same squad as they did last year, so they'll probably be fine, right in mid-table, Eibar. 12th place, Deportivo Alaves. Now, they had a great season last year, finishing Copa del Rey runners-up, but they've lost a lot of the players that they had on loan, and I think they'll just be comfortably in the mid-table this year. 11th place, Espanyol, Barcelona's second team. They don't have that good a team, but they're managed so well, whether it be Mauricio Pellegrino, who's left for Southampton, Quique Sanchez Flores, Pochettino, I think he used to coach Espanyol. They have a very long line of good managers, and I think that they will just be comfortably in that mid-table 11th spot. Basically the same here for Eibar, Levante, Espanyol, and Alaves. I think they'll just basically all be hanging out kind of in mid-table, not really challenging for anything, not threatened by relegation either. And now in the top half, I've gone with Celta de Vigo. They were Europa League semi-finalists last year, but they lost to Manchester United, meaning that they will not be in any European competitions this year. And I think that'll be good for them. I think they'll just be comfortably in 10th place. They're a decent side. They have good players, and I'm sure they'll be fine. No, not relegation threatened, but not really challenging for anything. 9th place, I've gone with Real Sociedad. They are a good side. They really surprised everyone, I think, by getting into Europe last year. But I think that'll weigh down a little bit on them. They've lost Carlos Vela, who is one of their best players, to LA, which is a good signing for them. But I think that, you know, they won't have enough players to really compete on both the Europa League and La Ligue fronts. So I think 9th place is a fairly decent position for them to finish. 8th place, I've gone with kind of a shocker, I think. Real Betis, the Sevilla club, finished like 15th last year, I think. And they've made some really nice signings this summer. They've signed Andres Guardado and a bunch of other really good players, and I think that they will have a pretty successful season. I think they'll finish in 8th, and everything is just going to gel for the Sevillan side. 7th place, I've gone with Valencia. Now, they've been a disaster the past 2 years, but I think they've finally gotten steady the ship, and I think they could finish higher, but you never know. I think we're going to go 7th here, just in that last European potential spot. I don't know really what Valencia are going to do this year, because they were so good and then they just went into a period of turmoil, and so they really could finish lower or higher, but I think 7th place is about right, because they have, you know, they have a decent side now that they have good management, and they're hoping just to get that stability, not really challenging for anything, but just being stable, not relegation threatened like they have been the past 2 years. So I think that's going to be good for them. 6th place, I've gone with the Basques, Athletic Bilbao. Great tradition in Athletic Bilbao, and they're always right up there. I think this year they'll be in 6th. Yeah, they're almost always up there. They're just a really stable, good team with Basques, and yeah, it's great how they only sign Basques. That's patriotism right there, nationalism. And yeah, Athletic Bilbao in 6th. 5th place, I've gone with Villarreal. They're always just a really solid team, except for that one season that they got shockingly relegated. But then they bounced right back, and they are now back in the top division. I think Villarreal, they always make like decent signings. They never really challenge in Europe, but they're just always kind of right up there. And this year, I just think it's going to be exactly the same. 4th place, I've gone with Atletico Madrid. Now, they've been having that transfer embargo, which has been kind of difficult for them. For some reason, Real Madrid got it lifted, but they didn't. They might be signing Costa, you know, in the window. They've signed Vitolo controversially. But I just don't think without those signings, they'll be able to compete in the first half of this season. I think they'll be in 4th place, last Champions League spot, but I don't think they'll be as good as they have been in previous years. 3rd, I've got Sevilla. Obviously, losing Sampaoli was a big blow, but I think they can bounce back with Berizzo. He's a good manager. They're a really stable club. No matter who goes in or out, you know, when Emery left, Sampaoli came in, they did fine, and I think Berizzo's coming in, they're going to do just fine, finishing in 3rd place, and I think having Atletico Madrid having this transfer ban is going to be helpful to them. I think 3rd place for Sevilla, not really challenging for silverware, but not getting in the Champions League. I think they will be definitely in Champions League next year. 2nd place, I've got Barcelona, and they've really not done well this summer. They've lost Neymar. Neymar no se queda. PK, we love you. I don't think Valverde is the best possible appointment, but I think he'll be fine. He'll do fine for them, but I don't think they're really going to challenge Real Madrid. And I think Real Madrid's going to run away with it this year. They just click so well under Zidane. Even if they don't have their star man, Ronaldo, I think they're going to be fine. I think Real Madrid will walk to the league title this year. I think it'll be pretty easy for them, unless Barcelona sign a very quality Neymar replacement. But who knows what's going to happen? Who knows what's going to happen in La Liga? I think La Liga has the best teams in the world. The best La Liga teams are I think the best La Liga teams are right now. They're just that one level higher than the best English teams, best German teams. And I think that the worst La Liga teams are just that one step higher than the Bundesliga teams and the worst Premier League teams. I think that 20th place Girona could probably stay up in the Premier League. I just think that the teams, they're just a little bit better, but, you know, we don't know that for sure. Maybe, you know, Huddersfield could stay up in La Liga. Who knows? But let me know what you guys think. Let me know which predictions you disagree with. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys all again in the next episode. Goodbye.